Hi there, Karthik. This is Radna.
Hi, Aradhana. Good evening. I hope I'm audible. Hi, Aradhana. I hope I am audible.
Yes, you are. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, thanks.
Great. Thanks for joining,
No worries.
Aradhana. Let me just share my screen and give you a quick update. I don't think we'll have too many other folks joining today
Okay.
because we had the call last week as well. And Amy went ahead and created the CNCF calendar to start from today.
Right.
And, there's no new updates as far as the other folks are concerned. I think they might join in from the next call onwards. So let me go ahead and just share what we've been talking about and what progress we've made.
Right.
Hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I think since the last time we spoke, we were trying to do the kickoff of this particular work group and trying to see what are the logistics needed, what are the goals, things like that. I think since then, we went ahead and added a GitHub repository for our work group. So this is the work group GitHub repository.
Okay.
Just added some artifacts here. We will go ahead and place this information as MD files within the repository. Right now they live in Google Docs, but that's just until it gets into some shape. And there are links provided here. And we've also got a mailing list now. We've got a mailing list that we cannot subscribe to. And that is here.
Cool. Very good. I will do that then. Yes.
Yeah. So this is the mailing list. You can take a look at this and try to communicate over this. And one of the ways in which we thought we'd go forward with the working group is bring in people, users from the community, and get them to speak about their chaos journey. When did they start? Why did they start? How are they doing it? How do they plan to go next? And some of this information will validate some of the thoughts that we have already as chaos projects and as community, CNCF community.
Right.
And we'll probably place all that learnings into the white paper. And there were some questions around how do we go about adding that data. So we plan to invite users and get them to present. So there is a slide deck template that we have created. Probably give 20 minutes or 30 minutes slot to people to come and present.
Yeah, that'd be great. Do you have people identified who will come and share their experiences? We should call somebody from Netflix, right?
Yes. We should
they do
call
a lot
folks from
and Google as well. So I can reach out to some people who could present something like this from Microsoft, Google. I mean, but they are vendors, right? They're not open source. So is that okay? I mean, we have to learn from the industry, right? What they're doing.
Absolutely. I think it's perfectly fine. I think we will have a mix of different persona who will come and talk. Some folks from the industry, like you mentioned, I think they are practitioners from a long time. So they would have gathered a lot of insights and perfected the practice to a great extent. So it's good to hear from them. We also have people from the end user community, people who are moving to cloud native in the recent times, and also started chaos engineering. Folks that we speak to on a regular basis as chaos projects, could be Chaos Mesh, Litmus, Chaos Blade. We have some adopters who use these projects and who started with their journeys. There might be people who are not just using these projects, but maybe using a completely different tool, which is maybe not on the CNCF landscape, but still I think their opinions will be very helpful. So we just got a template. This is not really set in stone. We can always modify this and get people to speak whatever they are interested about. But as long as we derive some knowledge, that is great. And we have sort of identified one or two people to kick off these presentations, but anyone that you could reach out to would be great. And we could.
I do have people in the industry who can come, and especially from Google.
Okay.
Reach out to them and then let you know what their timeframes are going to be. You know, there are a lot of conferences in US right now. KubeCon is coming and several other CSA conferences. So people are busy presenting, but I will look at some prospects and bring them here, definitely.
That would be awesome. So the idea, Radha, is to sort of pack in at least 4 or 5 of these, at least, let's say, we've got about a month and a half to go for the KubeCon NA. And the goal is to get the white paper to some reasonable shape before that.
Before then? Okay. Okay, that's aggressive. Yeah, we have time. I mean, it can be done. It can be done, definitely.
Right. And the work group might sort of outlast the white paper itself. I see some work groups going in that direction where they sort of put things on the landscape. I think the initial work group that CNCF started, there was a chaos work group that was actually started sometime in 2018, in fact, and that lived its course until projects were listed on the landscape, and then it sort of ended. But there are other work groups that have sort of gone beyond the serverless work group, for example, or the GitOps working group. I think they sort of outlasted the white paper, and they continue to spread some knowledge and keep it going generally. And there's a possibility of that turning into sort of a long-running entity within CNCF. So we will see where we go on the work group. The first goal definitely is to put out the white paper, and we managed to get it in some shape by KubeCon. I think it might garner more attention, more people might read it, they might even comment on it or contribute. So that is the idea. And for us to be...
Yeah, that sounds good. But again, it may not be a perfect white paper, right? We should scope it so we can do a V1, right? Version 1 and then version 2. Possibly we can improve on it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Depends on our volunteers too, right? How many volunteers we get to contribute to it.
That's right. That's the goal. Maybe a first cut, version 1 can go out, and the idea is to just get people to start reading it and have something coherent. Right now, what we have in the white paper is a set of sections and some points that we jotted down there. So maybe we just put it into some proper flow, and we can build from there, definitely. And for us to be able to get there, if we can get about 3 to 4 presentations from users, maybe different persona that can speak within that period, we will be in, our content will probably be that much better. So the idea is to have people come and present, let's say for 30 minutes, and then we can share our updates on the progress on the white paper and the rest of the duration. Maybe expedite these user presentations by having them, let's say, once a week or whenever the folks are ready, by following the 2-week cadence that we have for this meeting. It's possible that we may not be able to pack in the desired number of presentations before that period. So the proposal, I think, that we discussed in the last call was, if there is someone in the queue, if we have managed to identify folks that can present, then we could sort of do it on a weekly basis. We could send out Google invites, and we can participate, and we will anyways be recording it and putting it up on YouTube. So the good thing is we raised a service desk ticket asking for some credentials to upload these meetings onto YouTube, and we got that along with the GitHub repository and the mailing list. So I will start uploading this on YouTube. There's a separate playlist we can create for them. and we could start getting these user presentations in there. And we can join on a best effort basis as volunteers whenever we can make it, and asynchronously start working on the white paper based on the information that we can glean from these presentations. So that's the idea that we have right now.
Right. So how far have we, I have not checked the white paper lately, but how far are we on the white paper? Here's the,
Let me just.
I see the terminology here, but I don't see the link to the white paper here.
So we have this on the GitHub project. The repository has the links under the useful artifacts section.
Oh, got you. I'll check that out then. Yes, I want to get to this white paper. So would you mind opening it right now? Let's see how much progress we made on this.
Right. So what we have here is a general notes on what readers expect from this and what should be the length, etc. 15 pages might be an overkill, can be much lesser. These are the sections. Introduction to chaos and current state of chaos engineering in cloud native, and the summary of the projects is something that we can I can sort of go ahead and fill in. There's already some material that I have, and we have reached out to Chaos Mesh, Chaos Blade, Chaos Toolkit, some of these folks to put in their individual summaries here. So that I think is a quick win. We will be able to get this sections up fast. Learnings from the community is what will probably take some time
to do. Okay, so next couple of weeks we should find some presenters, right, for our learnings. So let me reach out to people today, and the next few days, US, we have a long weekend coming, but people will probably respond next week, and let's see what comes out of it.
Yep. That would be great. Thank you for taking that up. I think this section will benefit a lot from those presentations.
Right.
So getting started is a tool project agnostic set of instructions or steps how people can convince their management to get started with chaos and what they need to do as the first step. What are the prerequisites? The fact that they need to have observability in place and all those kind of things, general best practices. And what is missing here is something around security. If you look, because that's something that's come into chaos engineering of late. Security chaos is a relatively new thing, let's say, when compared to general chaos engineering. People have been doing node shutdowns or disk failures or pulling the power plug or disrupting network for a long time, but how security violations can be tested, validated, and how that is sort of brought about to notice in while speaking about reliability. So how does security sort of fit in there is something that is missing from the agenda of this white paper right now. So that is one area maybe you can help.
Security part, give it to me. I have lots of ideas now that I want to incorporate here. Because I've been working with policy working group and everything, several other working groups. So I have some ideas that I can incorporate here from a security standpoint. Maybe there'll be one chapter can be just on security chaos engineering, right? Because we want, I mean, obviously from a security assurance perspective, right? Makes sense too. And resiliency testing perspective. Be proactive and figure out where you have misconfigured things or policies or excessive access and all that. So let me take that action. Let me work on it. And then we'll connect next week or whenever the next meeting is.
That would be great. What we also did, Radha, in the meanwhile, this is something like an addendum or sort of supporting artifact to go with the white paper. That's a glossary or a dictionary. People were starting with
that you have already worked on that, right?
Yeah. So people who there's a ton of information on the internet about chaos, but it's too much info, and sometimes that can be a little difficult to navigate. People who are looking at this work group and the white paper can sort of look at this to get a succinct picture on chaos engineering. So we've not alphabetically sorted it. We've gone more with the flow, what chaos engineering, what is its principle, what is meant by an experiment, and then about what they need to do as part of an experiment, how they would set blast radius, how they would do steady state hypothesis, and what is the observability elements they would factor within an experiment and things like that. That's the flow we've used. Some of this, I've taken definitions that are available, standard definitions that are available, and tweak them a little to sort of express them in layman language. So this is something that we can build upon. And here again, we could introduce the things that we want to add to this are things about cloud native terminologies in the chaos engineering space. There's a lot of churn there. And again, security is something that we can add here as well. So as we build out the chapter on the white paper on security, we could probably also, as a byproduct, push some content into the dictionary. It's like a live thing, we can keep updating it. So that's another agenda.
So what essentially you're saying is we should look for terms around security chaos engineering, right? And then add them to the. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's one thing. And we sort of wanted to get started on this presentation stuff from 10th September. Maybe we give enough time for people to sort of notify them and request them on presenting. So I would probably also start reaching out. I did reach out to a couple of folks from the end user community, folks in the fintech space, IAG, and in the telco space in Orange. So they have sort of committed verbally without really giving us a date. So probably find out more detail about that, and as you would sort of bring in more people, that will help us to get some sort of, we can go with a fixed learning expectation to these presentations. After each presentation, probably we can send out some information that we can gather, and it's possible that in succeeding the subsequent presentations, there's a difference in a viewpoint on the same area of practice that we can sort of lay out in the white paper, or there could be some newer aspect of chaos engineering that is not covered in the previous one. So we look for these learnings and then sort of summarize it after each call, and then find a way to put that in, position that into the white paper. That's the idea. And yeah, I think that's what we've done in the last few calls. We've got some repos and dictionary and mailing list, and we've got a YouTube playlist. Just the beginnings, the logistics,
organization and logistics. Yeah, that's great. We needed that, definitely, right? So that's helpful.
Yeah.
So I'll add this meeting to my Google Calendar, because, you know, if it's not on my personal Google Calendar, I forget the meetings. So I will add it, and so that way next week I'll remember.
Sure.
And let me take the action. The two actions I've taken is, one is to identify the security chaos engineering in the white paper. And then the second is the glossary. And the third is presentations from the industry, if anyone is willing to do that, right? Let me reach out to some people and see who I can rally for that.
Awesome.
That's great.
That sounds great.
Okay, fantastic. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that's all I had. I think we will have more to discuss as we go.
Thank you for pinging me. I wouldn't have, realized that. I didn't realize I was missing a meeting today. So thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you for joining. See you next week.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.